Hey everybody, welcome back. If you find this review or the demos useful in your purchasing decisions, please consider bookmarking the links below for your favorite vendor. If you use those links, then I will get a small commission anytime you make any purchase on their website. Thank you so much and enjoy the demos and review.
Get a shiver in the dark, it's raining in the park, but meantime sound of the river, you stop and you hold everything. A band is blowing Dixie, double fall time. You feel alright when you hear the music ring. Well, now you step inside, but you don't see too many faces. Coming in out of the rain to hear the jazz go down. Competition in other places. But the horns, they blowing that sound. Way on down south.
Okay, so I brought just the Sol Note Zero up first because I recently finished a video covering that earphone. Even though it's only $20, it seems like totally mismatched here, but I think it's a good starting point because the Sol Note Zero is very bright, kind of like how the Stellaris tries to be bright. Except the Stellaris, you can really start to hear for $100 what more you're getting. And you know, this is also kind of giving you a snapshot into where I was coming from when I first tried the Stellaris. You know, coming from the Sol Note Zero, the Stellaris can sound suddenly like it's opened up. Like, yes, it's thin and bright, but you wouldn't necessarily think that coming from something like the Sol Note Zero. The Sol Note Zero almost feels like it's lacking depth or articulation of something. Something's missing. And the Stellaris just brings it to your attention again, and it feels refreshing. This is the experience. This is the contrast that perked me up and made me go, huh, maybe the Moondrop Stellaris is an A+ piece of equipment. Very enjoyable. But then I put some other things in my ears. Let's listen to those.
Mine is strictly rhythm, he doesn't want to make it cry or sing. If any old guitar is all he can afford, when he gets up under the lights to play his thing. And Harry doesn't mind if he doesn't make the scene. He's got a daytime job, he's doing alright. He can play the honky-tonk like anything, saving it up Friday night with the Sultans, with the Sultans of Swing. Crowd of young boys, they're fooling around in the corner, drunk and dressed in their best brown baggies in their platform soles. They don't give a damn about any trumpet playing band. It ain't what they call.
Okay, so that was very interesting, and this is starting to show like where my journey progressed in my own personal experience outside this room making this review. When I put these things in my own ear, the Stellaris, after coming from the Sol Note Zero, it was an eye-opening experience and it sounded wonderful. And I was like, wow, so detailed, so crisp, so airy, blah, 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 blah. So much separation, sure. But then when I put the T3 Plus in my ear, at first you could go, man, where's all that airiness? I miss it. I want it back. The Stellaris was definitely better. The T3 Plus, when you just go right to it, it sounds muffled almost. But then I let you listen to it a little more. I let myself listen to it a little more too. And then it did this odd thing. It's like a psychological thing. You kind of get used to the T3 Plus. You're like, okay, there's depth to it. It's got this warmth, this thickness in the low end that, hey, maybe that's appropriate for this music, actually. Then you go back to the Stellaris and you're like, well, no, that really does open up. But then you go back to the T3 Plus and lo and behold, you do this enough. Eventually the Stellaris starts to sound like there's something off. It starts to be too edgy suddenly. You start to hear it as too edgy. And that's what's happening. That is what's happening. I can't unhear it once I've heard it. It's amazing how it can go from like a solid A+ kind of sound, enjoyable, airy, separated, all that, and then you listen to some other stuff with some heft to it, and you kind of miss the heft once it's gone. So let's keep listening to some other gear. Let's try out the Timeless. Ooh, let's bring in the big guns.
Last night all I think about is you. Don't stop, baby, you can walk too. Don't want, baby, think about you. You know that I'm never gonna lose. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Usually I put something on TV, so we never think about you and me. But today I see our reflections clearly in Hollywood, laying on the screen. You just need a better life than this. You need something I can never give. Fake water all across the road. It's gone now, the night is come. But sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. You can't fight it, you can't breathe. You say something so loving, but now I gotta let you go. You'll be better off in someone new. I don't wanna be alone. You know it hurts me too. You look so broken when you cry. One more and then I say goodbye. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. Heat waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. I just wonder what your dream.
Okay, I can say in 5 seconds what was wrong with the Stellaris there. It was lacking bass, and the consonants were extremely edgy. Yeah, I could pretty much sum it up like that. I would only further say on that particular clip that what stood out was that the Timeless was just as exciting, just as forward as the Stellaris attempted to be, but because it brought along the bass with it, and it kind of smoothed out some of that edginess around the consonants, it was an overall much better listening experience, much more enjoyable, I would say. Now, before anybody just clicks on the Timeless in the description to buy it, please be wary that the real-life listening experience for many people on the Timeless can be fatiguing in the treble region. So if you thought the Stellaris was fatiguing, so could the Timeless, all right? It just has a lot more else going on that makes it more flavorful and interesting, but it can still be fatiguing. Just a heads up before you buy it. All right, let's compare some other products, return back to this track, and see if we can learn anything new from it.
Sometimes all I think about is nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Usually I put something on TV, so we never think about you and me. But today I see our reflections clearly in Hollywood, laying on the screen. You just need a better life than this. You need something I can never give. Fake water all across the road. It's gone now, the night is come. But sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. You can't fight it, you can't breathe. You say something so loving, but now I gotta let you go. You'll be better off in someone new. I don't wanna be alone. You know it hurts me too. You look so broken when you cry. One more and then I say goodbye. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. Sometimes all I think about is you. Late nights in the middle of June. He waves been faking me out. Can't make you happier now. I just wonder what you're dreaming of when you sleep.
Okay, so I had to throw in the OH10 and the Mest in there because those are two of my most highly rated and regarded earphones for people to consider purchasing. And the Unique Melody Mest was maybe more of the apples to apples comparison because it's known to be a brighter, more treble leaning piece of gear. By the way, that's what I mean when I say bright. I just basically mean more treble, generally. And when I say warm, I just kind of mean there's more bass or heft in the lower end that give it that fuzzy sound to it. But anyway, what I think here is that the Stellaris can pop with excitement, especially if you compare it to like the OH10, which takes a decidedly warmer approach comparatively. But, you know, I think it's just the Stellaris makes such a big sacrifice in its bass presence in order to give you that impression of excitement. And it's not earned. It's not earned. You know, something like the Unique Melody Mest, it earns it. It sounds bright, but it gives you enough of what's supposed to be in the track that you can still enjoy all of what's there. I think this is really telling. Okay, let's keep going. In this case, let's look at, oh gosh. We're going to bring back the Mest again, and we're just going to zone in on that, maybe try some other tracks, bring some other products in as well. Let's keep listening. Okay, this is day 2 because my camera died on day 1. So here I am again, still in my clothes from teaching, so a lot more formal looking, but this is just actually what I wear most of the time every day. Anyway, so the Unique Melody Mest really shows here on such an exciting, wonderful track, you know, what you're missing in the Stellaris. The Stellaris, it really goes again here how much that low end, the bass, and something in the mids is just not high enough to be appreciated. I mean, there's genuine sound there that needs to be heard, and it's just not being really heard in an audible, appreciable way. What I thought was really interesting, though, going back and forth between such dramatic price points for two earphones that have been called bright by different people, the Stellaris was actually kind of exciting still. It had this interest, it had this crispness that, yes, it's with the big downside of missing, and I can't recommend the Stellaris, because it's missing so much, but I still think it's interesting that the Stellaris has something there in the treble that, you kind of do miss, or at least I miss a little bit when I go to something that is honestly just better balanced, like the Mest. I wouldn't want to give up that balance. I think it's more appropriate to add in that low end and all that, but the Stellaris does have something that does, kind of perk you up, kind of make you go, huh, that was cool. Can we get that and have our bass? It's called the Timeless. It's called the Timeless. All right, guys, let's keep listening. Let's see what else we have in store. Oh man, there's still so much to listen to, and yet I have so many thoughts I could share about this comparison that just came to me. So I'll give you a summary. I don't want to take too much time here. There's just so much to listen to. The Stellaris is ever bright. It's always that very treble-leaning set with a very big lack in bass. And you could hear the lack in bass even more when you had this whole lineup. Whether it's comparing the Stellaris to other bright gear like the Mest or like the Timeless, all of those other options have ample low end enough that you can appreciate what's there. And then you move over to the T3 Plus and the OH10, and those sound almost identical in a lot of ways. But I think there's a slight difference, even in the demo that you're hearing, in the upper end, in the treble. It's like the OH10 takes lessons from the Bright Stuff's book. It says, people like treble. It adds air. It adds perceived separation between things, or perceived detail goes up. Even if all the detail is already there and the other stuff, there's something about the human brain or something when it comes to treble. I've come to this kind of conclusion through all this stuff I've done on this channel and all the journey I've been on here, that treble is kind of a necessary ingredient. You can't forego it if you want to appeal to all of your library. You need it there. And much the same way you need bass there to enjoy everything. You can't go completely extreme. There needs to be some kind of attempt at a balance. You need to get enough to enjoy from either one. In between that, it's all a game of which areas do you like to hear prominate more in your playback experience. Are you somebody who prefers brighter gear or warmer, low-end, thicker gear on the bass, thicker on the low mids? And you know what? I'm a V-shaped person. I like my treble, I like my bass. And yeah, if I can very clearly hear the mids, the vocals and all the instruments where most of the instruments live is in the mids, then that's great too. But the Stellaris just doesn't get there. The Stellaris just doesn't do anything except to be really, really bright in your face. And it's very interesting at times, but Man. Okay, let's keep listening.
I hurt myself today to see if I still feel. I focus on the pain, the only thing that's real. The needle tells a hole, the old familiar sting. Try to kill it all away, but I remember everything. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt.
Oh man, it just keeps getting worse for the Stellaris. I was hoping that some strings and pure female vocals might introduce some strengths in the upper end with the Stellaris, but I was dead wrong. The unique melody mest really just serves as a highlight. I know, again, it's an unfair comparison, but what it does is show you what's possible, and it just highlights what's missing in the depth of the plucks. I mean, do you hear that too? It was just every time that string plucked on the unique melody mest, you felt this lusciousness of that low end kind of reverberate in your headspace. But when the Stellaris came on, it felt like it hollowed out, by comparison anyway. I mean, was it enjoyable? Sure. Good music, good vocalists, and good emotion is still able to make its way through in a female acoustic track like this. I still loved hearing her sing. It was great on the Stellaris anyway. But the unique melody mest just shows us what is possible in this hobby. And once you hear it, it's the kind of thing, it's the kind of experience that makes you go, do I really just want to spend another $100 on just another thing that kind of does something's okay? I'm all about saving everybody money wherever possible. Let's stop spending money on every new hype thing that comes up. All right. That's my spiel. Let's just go back to the female vocals again, but this time bring back the OH10, bring back the Timeless, bring back the T3 Plus and the Cell Note Zero. Let's see what the similar price points do offer us, to be fair in the comparison.
I wear this crown of thorns upon my liar's chair, full of broken thoughts I cannot repair. Beneath the stains of time, the feelings
You are someone else. I am still right here. What have I become? My sweetest friend. Everyone I know goes away in the end, and you could have it all. My empire of dirt, I will let you down. I will make you hurt. If I could start again, a million miles away, I will keep myself. I would find a way.
What's interesting there is that with the vocalists' acoustic kind of tracks like this, we're getting an idea, introducing the warmer stuff like the OH10 back in, and the cheaper bright stuff like the Sol Note Zero. We're getting a fuller picture now of the scope of what you could be getting within this genre and kind of track anyway. What you could get instead of the Stellaris. And I think we're hearing, if you're not hearing the same thing I am, that the Timeless is a clear winner still for somebody who's interested in that open, airy, clear, bright sound, but still doesn't want to make those sacrifices that the Stellaris makes. And what's kind of especially interesting here to me is that we also hear how the OH10 doesn't stand out really nicely when it comes to something like a standalone female vocalist and her acoustic guitar. There's something that's a little too warm on the OH10 for me to feel that crystalline, almost I call it ethereal quality that a good female vocalist can provide. At least this one here does. And with those gasps for air she makes, that kind of like you hear the texture of it, and every little sound you're just like feeling immersed in the emotional palette of the singer. And I really, you search for gear that gives you that experience when it's available in the master, which it is here. Totally a timeless winner. And then when the Mest came on, it was just like, this is the end all. I'm not going to listen to the Timeless ever if I have the Mest in my possession when it comes to this style of music. Okay, so now let's go to male vocalists, and let's bring the Dyoko in. Now the Dyoko, I've been keeping this whole video until now. It's probably the only chapter mark or timestamp I'm going to bother with for people who just want to see it, because it's eerily similar in certain ways as the Stellaris, and it's also the Dyoko, $100 in cost, which is very much the same as the Stellaris. So let's see what you think about the Dyoko compared to the Stellaris head on.
Don't go changing to try and please me. You never let me down before. Don't imagine you're too familiar, and I don't see you anymore. I would not leave you in times of trouble. We never could have come this far. I took the good times, I'll take the bad times. I take you just the way you are. Don't go trying some new fashion. Don't change the color of your hair. You always have my unspoken passion. Although I might not seem to care, I don't want clever conversation. Never want to work that hard.
Oh man. Oh man. Okay, I had to just it's such a big difference. I had to just delete the rest of my video. This is my conclusion, guys. This is going to be the final part of the video, and I did not plan for that. I had like 10 to 15 minutes of other stuff I was gonna do. I was gonna have a big versus match between the Dyoko and the Stellaris. They're the same price, a very similar bright forward signature. It was the competition waiting to happen. Old hype versus new hype. And wow, what a letdown. What a letdown. The Dyoko just kind of puts the nails in the coffin here. It really does. You know, this whole video was featuring stuff that was, you know, somewhat similar, maybe in the same ballpark of tuning style, like the Timeless, very bright, but, you know, it's more expensive. It's $200. Okay, well, what about the $20 price range with the Sol Note Zero, the best over there? Also a bright, considered to be a thinned out kind of set. Okay, sure. It's the Stellaris is better than that. But what if we go to $100? What if we look for something that sounds very much the same, barking up the same tree as the Stellaris? We find the Dyoko, and here it comes, and it just sounds better. The low end seems more prominent. Whether it actually is or not, check out these graphs, by the way. I never look at graphs. They're going to be up on your screen by now. Thank you, Bad Guy Good Audio Reviews, for providing these on your website. Links below. You know, I never look at graphs, but when I heard this, it's one of those rare moments where I'm like, I want to know exactly what it's measured at. I want to know what the differences are measured to be, and not just what I hear. And I was so surprised to see that the Stellaris is actually measured as having more bass by a couple decibels more than the Dyoko. And this runs all the way through the mid bass and through the lower mids. You know, and so I would have totally, and if you are a graph person, I don't know how you can look at those two graphs and not have expected that the Stellaris should sound warmer, should sound thicker. And yet that is exactly what it doesn't do. Someone explain that to me. Someone who's more intelligent. The best I can say is, looking at that treble, maybe you could say that the Stellaris has so much more of a peaking going on in the upper mids and treble that perhaps it outshines, because it's so much greater than the Dyoko, that perhaps that outshines that small difference in the bass. Perhaps, but that still doesn't explain to me just how thin the bass sounds. Like, I just don't even hear it. Like, guys, even if I max them out, I just don't hear it. But I hear it right away on the Dyoko. So, you know what? Trust your ears, trust the graphs, try to do some voodoo science and match the two, or just be smarter than me. Bad Guy Good Audio Reviews. I'm sure you can make better connections and analysis about those graphs to explain why we're hearing what we're hearing better than me. But I'll tell you what I heard. I'm going to end with what I heard. If you're going to spend $100 on something and you want that something to be bright, if you want it to have that excitement in the treble, don't get the Stellaris. Stay away. The Dyoko is your pick. Now, I personally don't recommend the Dyoko either, because I'm more of a fan if you're gonna go for that bright stuff. And hey, I'm the guy who likes bright. That's actually kind of what I prefer in general. I don't like the warmer stuff as much, the stuff with more bass as the prominent, you know, feature of a set. I'm the person who likes bright, and I don't even recommend the Dyoko with the other stuff out there. So don't buy the Dyoko unless you're really into it. Get the Timeless instead for $200. Save up for it if you must, but get the Timeless. And if you're really into that sound and you want to save up all the money that you're ever going to spend in the hobby on IEMs on just one piece of gear that's going to seal the deal for you, get the Unique Melody Mest. Well, maybe not. I haven't tried all the expensive stuff out there, to be fair. So maybe that's not the best recommendation. I'm working on it. I'm building more of my repertoire. I'm trying more stuff. Thank you, Linsol, for giving me gear. Thank you, Linsol, for providing me with this stuff today. And I will look forward to the next video with you all. Hopefully it's more interesting than this. Bye.